Hello, everybody, and welcome to Top Tuesdays with Terry. And we're talking with Janelle today. She owns her own business, and she is a fierce, powerful businesswoman who specializes in graphic design, web design, and branding. Is that correct?
You bet.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk about basically going for your goals as if you want to achieve your own business or start your own business, but you're like, where do I start with all of that, right?
Absolutely.
So let's start, Janelle, if you just want to kind of tell us your story, how you got into being your own boss.
Definitely. I think my parents would definitely tell you that I've always been a very independent kind of person. And I was always very artistic, creative kind of as well. Any craft you could name, I was totally into it. Loved building things out of cardboard boxes and drawing and friendship bracelets and glitter and everything.
All the things.
So I think it was always pretty obvious that I was going to go into a creative field. And in high school, I took my first graphic design course, and I just fell so in love. So took a couple of those courses, took web design in college, which was even more. I don't know what it was, maybe just the movement and
it was something new too, probably, when you went to school, right? Like, it was exciting and untapped.
The freedom of the internet, like, it's just so, giant. You can use, the space is infinite. So, so web design was really incredible. I started working at one of the advertising agencies in the city here in Winnipeg. Was really great. I was a new media coordinator. Wasn't quite right fit for me, and I kind of started second guessing myself and whether web design was even what I wanted to do. So in the back of my mind, I'd always thought maybe I'd want to be a teacher, so I went back to university.
Oh, wow.
Tried to get my B.Ed, also didn't pan out. Academia is not for me.
If it makes you feel any better, that is also what I went to university for, was to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And clearly
Yes.
it's not the path.
Not exactly the right fit. So so it kind of, it took a little bit of detour, and I was a little bit discouraged, and got some support from friends and family who were like, you just gotta put yourself out there, gotta try. So I applied for a job at another local agency, got that, started working for them and working on my own again.
Okay.
And everything just kind of exploded, and I was getting so much more freelance work, and the experience that I had with my own clients was so different than working with people who were funneled to me through the company that I worked with. And I just felt so much more connected to them. It was so much more of a personal relationship. The things that we were able to achieve were just so much greater because there was that trust
strengths.
and exactly. Like, all of my strengths could really come into play there. So about 2 years ago, I took the leap and quit my full-time job and started doing web design on my own full-time. So I started my company, bloom+brilliance.
Which I'll try to link in the comments if I remember.
It's all good. And so it's been 2 years and a few months, and it's just been incredible.
Yes, like, being an entrepreneur is the craziest ride ever.
Yes.
And it's not for everyone, and that's one thing that I always tell people. They're like, oh, I just want to quit my job. It's like, okay, but you got to ask yourself, do you work well under pressure?
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay, maybe not making a lot of money?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you got to pay all the business side of it. When you work for somebody else, that's all taken care of, and you just collect your paycheck and go home, kind of thing. But
there's a big personality difference. You have to be able to motivate yourself too, which I think is probably one of the hardest things to do. Is to, when no one's making you punch a clock and you don't have to put pants on to work. Sometimes it can be hard to get into the groove, but I think that's where the passion, where you really have to pick what it is that makes you just sparkle, right? Just makes you shine, just makes you come alive. If you can find something like that that you can get paid to do, then that's what you should be doing.
And the thing is that it has to be that powerful that
Absolutely.
you're excited to wake up in the morning early if you're not normally an early person, or stay up to the wee hours of the morning to complete a project because it's effing amazing. Whereas when you usually work for someone else, there's constraints put in place that you can't work to your full potential unless you have like a really crazy, amazing job.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I don't know if that exists working for somebody else.
It's hard to find the right kind of corporate culture that fits you, and I don't think that's only a problem for people who are that have a little bit more of that entrepreneurial spirit to them. Our world definitely is changing, and I think that we're seeing a lot of transitions, but in the meantime, freelancers are booming, especially in kind of like our age bracket. People are shirking the traditional career routes and just going into business for themselves.
Doing their thing, And I think that is so awesome, because not only does that make a stronger economy because it's all local, which is mostly local anyways, but it also makes people happier.
Absolutely.
Which also makes hopefully the world a better place if people are just doing what is true to them. And I think it's kind of a cool time to be alive. Like, we're not in the 50s, 60s where it's like, okay, you're gonna stay home and have babies and be a mom. Like, if that's your passion, cool, do that. But like, that's not for everyone, myself included. So it's kind of nice that we have some options, but some people say that maybe we have too many options. Did you find that was a struggle for you when you started?
For me, I didn't really have that too many options problem. I'm good at a lot of things, but I would get sick of doing a lot of things. Like, yes, I've dabbled in making jewelry. Yes, I've dabbled in beading. Yes, I've dabbled in painting, all these different kinds of things. But I couldn't do that day in and day out and be successful at it and find that same energy. That's just not what I'm passionate about. So for me, it was really either teaching or do graphic design,
and
web
the
design.
Teaching didn't work. So.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, all right, well, I'm good at this. I have a diploma. Let's just do this job.
Well, the interesting thing though is that kind of with your job now, because you're doing more of the branding aspect for clients too, is that you are kind of teaching them to like find out who they are as a business person or as an entity, right? So for somebody that is wanting to venture out to be their own boss, like what is like the one key piece of advice that you would give them?
So we were actually talking about this yesterday. I read a book maybe a couple years ago, and it was about finding your strengths and weaknesses and how to play that up and how you can translate that into your career to bring you to the next level. And the question that they asked was phrased in just such a way that I'd never heard it been said that way before, and it really had an impact on me. And it was, when do you feel like you're on fire? And I thought about it and I was like, well, like there are a lot of times I feel excited about my job, excited about my life, but on fire, I'm like, it's a very particular feeling. And so I kind of just, waited for that next time I could have that feeling. And it was when I'm sitting down with a client. It was when I was sitting down with a client, we met at a restaurant, she's telling me this is what we need, this is where we want to be, this is what we want to do for people. And I just felt that
bubbling
rush. Exactly. Like it's almost like it's like a drug. You're getting that high, right? Of just like the possibilities and the energy and that coming together and like what can we do for each other? Like how can we elevate each other type of thing. Which I'm all about. And so actually that's maybe something interesting that we can touch on just quickly here is that there are a lot of people doing a lot of the same things. And for me, graphic design, web design, branding is a very saturated market. There are a lot of us. I'm not the best designer there is out there. There are so many talented people. A lot of them are my peers, my friends that are just absolutely talented, creative people. But what my particular, I've learned that what my particular specialty is the energy and the trust that people have in me and are able to put into me and what we can achieve together. So it just brings it brings out an entirely different kind of product, I guess, at the end. So that's one thing that's really important in business too, is like, first got to figure out something that you're on fire for, that you're passionate about, that you can do day after day and you can wake up for.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is to differentiate yourself from your competition, because you're going to have competition.
Yeah, and coming from photographers, a highly saturated market, because everyone with a camera nowadays is a photographer. It was important to me to find a niche that was mine, but it wasn't that I was like, oh, I'm doing this because nobody else is doing it. It was because that's where I felt on fire, right? So I was like, okay, well, all these other things I can do, but I don't necessarily feel the same passion for them. And my piece of advice to people would be disregard the competition altogether. They're not you. And I actually heard one of my mentors say once is that if they don't choose you, they're not your client.
That's right.
Right? Because they will come to you for you, not just pretty, like for me, pretty pictures or whatever it is. They will come to you for you and whatever experience, because you are yourself and nobody can duplicate that. Same with you as a web designer. You put so much into it that's way different than somebody else down the street that their strength lies somewhere else. So when a client doesn't choose you, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that they didn't either connect with you on that same level, and so on and so forth. But I know for myself, one of the downfalls to running my own business, there was about a 3-month period where I became extremely negative, where I was more busy watching my competition or like the other photographers in my location, and it just ate away at me. Like I was spending more energy there than I was like, what can I do to elevate myself? Did you find that you also had a moment like that, or or not yet, maybe?
No, like I have been doing this. I graduated in 2006, so I have been doing this for about 9 years, and just under the bloom+brilliance umbrella for the past 2. So there have definitely been times when I've been like feeling a little bit down. Maybe the money's not coming in the way it used to. There's a little bit of a slump, and you're wondering like, oh my God, like, is this it? My luck's run out, and you're looking at what everybody else is doing, and you're like, oh, I wish I could be there. And
that's
like, why aren't I there
guessing.
yet? And that is an absolutely brutal thing to feel. And I think that it can. I don't suggest that you indulge in those feelings, but I think that you can be aware of what's going on around you, because it helps to kind of push you forward. It can help to push you forward. It can give you new ideas. You see something that somebody else is doing, you're like, hey, I like that, but what if, I put my own special flair to that. Those are the positive things that you can get out of being aware of what your competition is doing, but I definitely agree that you shouldn't focus on that. Your focus needs to be on you. I think in the movie The Holiday, it's like, you should be the starring role in your own movie type of thing. So you should be the lead actress, lead actor in your own business, for sure. I lost my train of thought here. So I guess the other thing too is you were saying disregard the competition, focus on you. And if people aren't coming to you, that's not necessarily a loss, and that's true. You do have to, you want to be evaluating yourself all the time. If you're not making any kind of money, if people are not coming to you, there's something that's not connecting, and so that needs to be looked
Figured
at.
out.
But everyone has an audience, really, for who they are. And when I developed my own brand, I developed it for I didn't think like, oh well, I just want to work with anyone who has a website. There is one kind of person out there that is my absolute favorite client to work with. And I designed my website and my branding to appeal to that specific person. And so people who aren't necessarily in that persona or have those shared personalities or whatever, they might still come and connect on some level with me, or I might offer something that they just need. And so even though there might be a little bit of personality clash, they're like, oh, but I like this enough that that we could work together. This seems like a good fit still. But there's definitely, you got to think about who would my dream client be, and develop your brand and develop your business to attract that one person. And
that's really good advice.
And the good news about that is that when you put out what you want and what you need, when you ask for what you need, it's more likely to come to you. And that's what, it took me probably the same amount of time, 6 years, to finally determine
I'm okay with who I am as a person to put my name on my brand now, and I'm okay to be my business. Like, I will put my face there.
Yeah.
And if people don't like me because I have frizzy hair or I don't look polished, if they don't like me, they're not my client. Yeah. I need people that respect my frizzy hair and my like buttons that pop open at the cleavage when it, you know, it's random. I'm working. I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah.
Or that I swear like a sailor. Like those are my people that are real, I guess, would be like more down to earth and less corporate-y. That's not really who I appeal to, which there are people for them.
Yes, exactly.
And it took me a long time to be okay with that. Do you know what I mean? And I think as you're like, oh, I lost this client, da da da. But then it's like, okay, but would I really have
what did you really
enjoyed? Yeah. So now what I do is I refer them to people that will give them what they're looking for.
Exactly.
If I know that I cannot. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's also an important thing with the competition part of it is do make friends with the people in your whatever genre or whatever your business is. So that way, if you know that there's no, like, you can't fulfill your client's wishes, that you do have people, because it looks really good on you. If you're like, you know what, I want to make sure you get the absolute best, that they will then still refer people to you because you have that mindset. So.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, in general, I'm definitely the kind of person that believes in building people up rather than tearing them down. And so, being able to respect other people's values and other people's talents, whether they're in your field or they're kind of like secondary or tertiary level people that you're working with. Like, for example, for me, I need photographers for my clients' websites. So, you know, there are some of my clients that would love you, and there are some that need a little bit more of, you know, like a more polished, like less, it's not so much about the personality, right? Yeah, so those are people that I would refer to somewhere else. But there's only things to be gained out of just having that positive energy going around. And the other, I guess, to bring it back actually to what you were saying before about like, have you ever felt down? The thing that I've noticed over the years is that the easiest way to feel better about someone who's doing better than you is to align yourself with them. Yeah. Because those people are people, and even though they're having they're successful in their business or their personal life looks really fantastic, they're having their shitty days like you. They're having their own struggles just like you are. And there is probably something that they could learn from you and that they can get out of you, out of that relationship. Yeah. And just becoming part of something that's better, as opposed to putting up that wall and that separation, you know, like the us versus them mentality. Yeah, exactly. There's,
Awesome. Cool. So we'll just finish up here. What is one resource that you would recommend, like a book or a podcast or anything like that you might refer people to really get them thinking about how to take the next step to maybe quitting their job to pursue their ultimate dream job?
Right. There are so many resources about quitting your job, especially on the internet. There's articles and bloggers that specialize in that. There's one guy that's like, it's something about backpack, like fill your own backpack, or you know what? I'll look for it, and I'll post the link. One of the books that I read that really had an impact was the standout theory. Okay. Again, I could post the link or post a picture of the book maybe. And when I was a teenager, which I actually think was so influential in my life, was the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teenagers. My mom, who is a brilliant, lovely, motivated, successful person, bought that for me when I was a teenager, and it taught me like a prioritizing system that I still use to this day. So that's awesome. If you're looking, I would say the Stephen R. Covey series is really good.
My mom has like books.
Yes. Like, he's written so many of them.
But definitely we call it high level thinking book. But that's the thing too, is step outside, like you stepped outside web design books. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? Like you went other places. Yeah. And I think that's a good piece of advice for people too. Like, don't just stay in your area
because there's tons that you can learn from the struggles and successes of different businesses, right? We're in a constant, especially in this world, we're in a constant state of flux, and it can be overwhelming to always be trying to get to the next level. What's a new thing? But you just have to be curious. You just have to be interested in what you're doing and what your industry is doing. And so, definitely look for inspiration, look for advice everywhere you can find it.
Awesome. And with that, we will say adieu. But if you want to check out Janelle's work, you can check it out at bloom+brilliance.com.
Yep.
Okay, bloom+brilliance.com. Again, I'll try to remember to link it. If not, I will go back and edit it and then put it in the description like I did the last 2 videos. But you can find her out there. Also, check her out on Facebook. She's just cool. She also models for me sometimes. You've probably seen her kicking around my website, which is awesome. But you'll see her probably coming up soon, actually, in a shoot that we just did 2 days ago wearing a wedding dress. Lovely. And that is everything for today. We will see you next Tuesday, everybody. Bye.